welcome to the Crusader podcast. I'm your host, Zach. So it's been a long time coming getting out the first episode. Hopefully, this will make up for it. Basically, I was creating this podcast for the reason that, um, first and foremost, share the gospel of Jesus Christ with other people. I also wanted to um, be able to talk with interesting people, chat with them, um, ask questions, Bible questions, things like that, spiritual questions, different things that a critical thinker would ask. So, because I am a very critical thinking person, I like to ask a lot of questions. I like to if you've ever seen my chat GPT history, you'd say, oh my gosh, he does ask a lot of questions. But I like to, I'm always searching for more knowledge, especially when it comes to the Bible, when it comes to Jesus, also when it comes to politics, different things like that. I'm always curious about um, how things work. What can I do? How can I do more? How can I help other people? Um, and that is one of the main reasons why I come up with this was just so if I had opportunities to reach out to others, if I had opportunities to share the gospel with other people, had opportunities to ask questions to people that a lot of people think about, but are either too scared, too nervous, um, aren't sure about asking, don't know how it'll rub people to ask questions. You can put them in the comments because you can be sure that I'll ask them. I think when I did episodes with Mike Peters on the Regular Guy show, kind of proved nothing's really off limits when it comes to asking questions about Jesus and the Bible. It was there'd be things I just want to know, and I would just ask him, or things that I wanted to see what his take were on, and I would just ask. So, a little bit about me, because I know that was one of the things, and I addressed this in one of the previous comments about someone that was in recovery, found God and found Jesus, and while they were doing Celebrate Recovery, and I appreciate them for that comment. But a little bit about me. I grew up. I did go to church some when I got around the 10-year-old mark. Um, Spent some time in church. I'd been in church off and on before that, a little bit, just here and there. Did vacation Bible school, things like that. Um, Accepted Jesus Christ in my life when I was very young. Um, got baptized when I was very young. Um, Kind of held on to that for a while. Um, yeah, for a long period of time, I always had that faith that there was a God. Um, but as I got a little bit older, and it's something that I've done some research on too, people that as they get older fall away from the faith that had spent time in church, things like that, they kind of fall away a little bit. Um, so I've done like a pretty good amount of research on that and why that is, trying to understand what's going on there. But kind of fell away when I hit my 20s. Um, wanting to go out, have fun, hang out with the boys, uh, all that good stuff. And it, little did I know that having fun on the weekends was going to turn into a full blown addiction years later. And spent, I don't know, I'd say a good 10 years or so out there in addiction. Yes, I do still have all my teeth, just so you can check. Um, It's very rare. Um, but um, let's see. I was on my second marriage. Had kids from my first marriage, which we split up after a couple years, and that I'm not going to say that was the catalyst, but it could be attributed to it. But then got married again. We had a couple kids, and the addiction took a deep, dark turn. Um, Ended up, let's see, was not working. My wife was working, supporting us. Um, by that time, things got so bad she had to leave, and she did the right thing, I think. Took the kids with her, and after maybe a few weeks of just being alone, nobody else around, still out there, um, hoping for something else, not exactly sure what to do. Um, and I found this out later, um, but I had a lot of people that were praying for me, and I didn't really know, and honestly wasn't really interested in hearing about it or anything like that. Even though a lot of times when I was going to sleep, I was praying that God would wake me up the next morning, which was a bit unusual for somebody that didn't really care about a whole lot of anything. Um, but funny enough, my dad, uh, friends with a pastor at a local church, had the pastor and people in the church praying. Um, he had reached out to a good friend of mine that is a friend now since I've been in recovery, um, about recovery, because this gentleman also has he's got, what is it, I think a couple decades behind him in recovery now. Reached out to him to talk about it. He was praying. Got to meet that guy once I got in recovery, and turned out to be a really good friend, really good guy to know. Um, but uh, just one day, was out of money, wasn't sure what I was going to do, couldn't get anywhere, couldn't go anywhere, um, and just broke down and asked God, "Hey, what what do I do? Why am I still here? I'm tired of living like this. I want to do something different. What do I do?" And just broke down in tears. And a few minutes later, it was like, all right, I need to call my dad. So I call him, tell him what's going on. He already knew, because parents know. And he left work early and come pick me up. And basically, for the next week, while I'm trying to get over being sick and not being able to eat anything or drink anything, um, worst feeling I've ever felt in my life. And I got to say that that was another one of those great things, is feeling that bad. Um, because if you feel that bad when you're getting over something, you never want to do it again. And that's absolutely true. Um, it After going through that, did some calling, trying to find places to get in, places that I could go. Um, we ended up getting into an intensive outpatient program, which was fantastic because I got to meet a lot of other people in early recovery, which made me feel better. There's other people out there trying to do it at the same time I was, and they turned me on to go into meetings, a certain anonymous meeting, uh, and yeah, I mean it was all uphill from there. Um, they well, I wouldn't say all uphill, because the process had already been started, but it was that first year is kind of tough. It puts you, even though you've grown up in church, you've grown up believing in God, believing in Jesus, it puts you in that mindset of, if there is a God, why would he let me go through such a mess? Why would he let this happen to me? And so you get like sort of an agnostic point of view. And that's where I was for a little while. I was like, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what to believe. Don't know what to believe. And through the step working process, and I know a lot of people in the church, or a lot of Christians, or things like that say, "Oh, well, you don't need a 12-step program. You don't need a 12-step program." Well, I'm gonna tell you right quick. This man of God here absolutely needed a 12-step program. So much so that even being in the church for a period of time, I'd love to give a 12 step to every single person in the church, because it truly will change what you think about um, God, people, how you deal with people, how you treat people, spiritual principles, um, God centeredness. Um, a lot of things like that, and it would truly change a lot of people's perspective on what they think about 12-step programs. I would give that gift to everybody to be able to get into that space, to just work through the 12 steps, because I mean everything that comes out of the 12 steps came directly out of the Bible. So I mean the way I look at it is the the 12 steps, and if you really look at it, is basically a study guide for the Bible. You find God, um, you turn your life over to God, you clean up your mess from people that you've interacted with in the past. You continue to do that um, to people that you're meeting current day. So you're constantly taking inventory of yourself. And then you're sharing um, hope with others and faith. And you're practicing these principles in all your affairs, which is, the very last step. And I mean, honestly, it has been a biblical study guide. Um, so to me, I mean, it's been one of those things that I really needed, that made a lot of sense for me. But honestly, even after working through that, getting through a couple years of recovery, started working in the recovery field, um, helping others with their recovery. Unfortunate statistic I'll let you in on real quick. Out of um, 9 out of 10 people are going to fail, and they're going to go back out. So that means one person out of 10 will get recovery and stick with it. That's just that's the statistics surrounding it. Unfortunate as it is, that's true. A lot of people that I met when I first got into recovery, um, I think one made it, or has made it. One other person other than me. So I'd always tell my clients when I was working in the recovery field was, hey, the statistics are that only one of you is going to make it. I love statistics, but I want to. That's a statistic that I'd like to beat. I'd like for everybody to get recovery. Um, the A lot of times in recovery, like, you'd have people, and you'll still see it even with people that have long term recovery, that still aren't sure about God. They claim to be atheist or agnostic, and a lot of it is they just didn't get an opportunity to truly work the second and third step of uh, of that particular group. And if you didn't truly work the second and third, you're not going to work the fourth and fifth, and definitely not submit in 6 and 7. And a lot of times I'd have people ask me, they're trying to understand this higher power that the step work keeps talking about. They're trying to understand this higher power. And some people would say, oh, use a doorknob because it opens doors, use a tree, whatever. And it's like, no, no, no. You can't use those things. It's like, because there is something. If you look around and you look out into the world, into nature, all this was created, the trees, the grass, the bushes, all that stuff creates oxygen that helps us breathe. We breathe out carbon monoxide that helps them breathe. Um, we were born with, each person was born with half of a working reproductive system. That means we need something else to be able to reproduce. So it can't just be something as, ridiculous as a doorknob. It has to be a God. I mean, that truly has to be. And so a lot of times I'd help people work through it. Yet I was, back in the belief of God and back in the belief of the gospel of Jesus Christ and not going to church. And I'm going to tell you, that's a horrible place to be, is trying to figure out God, Jesus, and the Bible all by yourself. Um, can you still pray and meditate to God? Sure, absolutely. Is it difficult to understand parts of the Bible without them, without a church? Yes. It's just like trying to figure out a 12-step program by yourself. It's not going to happen. You have people that, um, number one, a sponsor, and then you also have the group um, to help keep you on the right path. So, I wasn't going to church. And then eventually, I got out of the recovery business. And then um, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law were going to a local church, and that church had a school. And at the time, COVID had been going on. Everybody got behind in school. School was a mess. And I said, yeah, they got a school here. You should bring the kids. So my wife and mother-in-law checked it out. Say, yeah, this place looks great. Kids start there. And then when that happens, like, we just start going to church, this church. And little did I know, all of the things I picked up from recovery, all the things that I had learned about God or figured out about God all by myself, just exploded once I got this church. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is phenomenal. I've been missing this all this time, and it was a little bit different than any church I'd ever been to, because I was just like, something about it feels like God put me here. And going back to the God putting me here thing, when I mentioned earlier about calling my dad, he come and pick me up, when I was sick and ready to get better. Um, and I figured this out while I was in recovery, but it was one of those things where I didn't make that phone call on my own. I didn't decide all on my own that I was going to do something different. And I always tell everybody I equated it to God just reached down one day and picked Zach up out of that mess, and he moved him and put him down somewhere else and said, okay, there you go. You are delivered. You are healed. You are somewhere else and you're out of the mess. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do for the glory of God? And for a long time, I was trying to figure it out. And honestly, I had pitched this idea with some other people about doing a podcast. And I had talked with Mike since he started the regular guy show. And, the idea of asking questions and, you know, interviews, which Mike had done in the past with others. And he's done several that turned out really great on, on his show. And I was like, I want to do more. I want to reach people on a larger scale. I want to be able to talk to people and and just ask questions because I'm inquisitive. I just like to know stuff. or I like to know people's opinion or what people think about certain things. Um, which is why I'm doing this. And I don't know if there's an opportunity, which in my regular job I do get to share the gospel with people as I see them. But I want to do something more because this day and age, a lot of the issues that we have throughout the world, throughout our country, is we've gotten away from Christian values. We've gotten away from biblical values. I don't even have to say Christian. I'm just say biblical values. We've gotten away from, all the things in the Bible that are good, and we've allowed people to say, no, we don't need that anymore, or no, we're not going to do that, or we're just going to live however we want or do whatever we want, and that's continued to happen and has got us going down dark paths. I would like to help. I'd like to help get us pointed back in the right direction, to get us going back where we need to get us back involved in, you know, helping share the gospel, helping tell people about Jesus, um, and the amazing sacrifice that He made for us. Something that we don't deserve. We could never do anything to earn it. Something that, and I've said it before, and now that I think about it, I'd say that was freely given to us. It wasn't freely given. There was a price that was paid for it, and Jesus paid that price on the cross. Um, and so it wasn't free at all. It's free to us, but there was a price that was paid for it. God gives us grace and mercy now because of the sacrifice that God Himself made by sacrificing His Son. It's just it's unreal to think about the love God must have for us to make that sacrifice. And here I went around for years living like it wasn't a big deal and doing whatever I wanted to because Zach ultimately thought he was God. Um, man, sometimes just thinking about some of the stuff and the sacrifice and the love, it's just hard not to be brought to tears over it. It's so amazing and such a wonderful thing that we've been given, and a lot of us just take it for granted. Even church going people, religious people, take it for granted. They show up to church on Sunday morning and then, you know, excuse me for saying, but live like hell the rest of the week. Um, they get all their fancy clothes on, their nice clothes, going to church on Sunday morning, say, we'll see you this evening for a service. They don't show up. They don't show up on Wednesday night. Um, Sometimes it's just a show. I'm here to be seen, and that's it. And that's not living for God. It's not living for Jesus. And yeah, I'm not always able to be there every time church is going on, but I try to be as much as I possibly can. I don't go Sunday morning and then not show up Sunday evening. Um, Matter of fact, I don't even dress up for church. Last night was today's Thursday. Yesterday was Wednesday. I wore shorts to church, a t-shirt and shorts. It is like a bajillion degrees outside right now. I'm not wearing no hot pants. Uh, Only reason why I'm wearing a necktie right now is because this is how I dress for work. When it's church time, it's a t-shirt and shorts or t-shirt pants, whatever. But I'm not dressing up. It ain't for me. I'm here for God. I'm not here for, you know, sister whoever or brother whoever over here to see me and see me all dressed up. That ain't what it's about. I'm here as me trying to get better and trying to be more like Jesus. Dre- Dressing up is going to be that'll be one of the topics that we'll eventually talk about, because I've got my opinions on that, and I've got some other people that I'm gonna ask about that. But I don't dress up because to me, dressing up seems more prideful, and Jesus was humble. I want to be humble, so I don't, you know. What is the saying? Pride comes before the fall. Um, I There's nobody there I'm trying to impress. I just want to serve God in the best capacity I can. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Um, we can go into more detail about my background if anybody asks about it. Like I said, we'll have other folks on. We're going to talk about recovery with some other folks. Um, we'll dive into my story a little bit more. We'll dive into some of their stories. Um, like I said in the coming soon short that I posted not long ago, we will have and I've got a list of all the people that I want to have on, or at least start of a list of probably 7, 8, 9, 10 people I've got listed so far, and I've asked several of them. They were like, "Yeah, absolutely, we're all for it." So anytime we get a chance to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, we're all for it. So um, look for those coming soon. I'm gonna try and be consistent with getting this out. I don't know how consistent I'll be. Um, I don't know how often I'm gonna get to interview people. Um, but if nothing else, I'll come and talk and chat a little bit, or maybe answer some questions that people throw at me, or it could be talking about anything. Um, if you will, and you want to say a little bit about some of the questions I've asked, see something about one of the guests that we'll have on, and it'll be an interesting conversation. We've talked a few times about some things that we discussed on his show that we could do just an entire show about that particular topic. Be Mike Peters, the Regular Guy Show. Check out the Regular Guy Show on YouTube. It's also on Facebook. I think he's on the Instagrams. That's one of the little things we like to do, like we're you know uh, being funny. But check him out. You'll see we did a couple interviews with asking questions a while back. I have some folks from my church. There'll be a few other folks that I'll talk to. A really good one. My wife doesn't know it yet, but she's probably going to be on here too, because we got some things that I'd like to discuss with her, biblical things. And hopefully, this is going to be a lot of fun and interesting for everybody watching. Um, I really hope that you guys enjoy it. If there's anything that you're just curious about, or you want to ask questions to me, you want to see anything in particular, or discuss anything in particular, um, please reach out. Um, Send me a comment. Uh, Also got a page on Facebook. It's the Crusader podcast there, so you can send me a message on there. Also, um, please don't be afraid to reach out. I'm an open book, uh, and I'm also super inquisitive. So I like I like people asking me questions, because if I don't know the answer, I like to ask other people questions. And sometimes I'll ask silly ones. So I promise you, there's no silly or dumb or stupid questions that you could possibly ask. Um, I I just like to ask silly questions. So feel free to. Like I said, I'm an open book. I don't mind talking about things. Are some things a little difficult to talk about? Sure, but If it's something that's going to help other people, I don't mind. Um, that's it's one of the main things that I want to do is I want to be able to help others. I want to be of service to others. That's one of the reasons why I got in the recovery field was to be of service to others because part of recovery and part of being a follower of Christ is service to others. So if there's anything I can do to help you out, if you need prayers, leave comments, shoot me a message on Facebook. Um, if you are going through something, you need to talk about something, please feel free to reach out. Um, Anything I can do to be of service to you is also of service to me. So um, don't don't be shy. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to speak up. So thanks so much. Again, this is the long awaited first episode. So greatly appreciate you being with me, and we'll see you next time.